The Middle East stands on a knife's edge, a region fraught with historical tensions and modern-day complexities. Tensions between Iran, Israel, and the United States have reached a fever pitch, with each nation preparing for the worst. Military parades showcase strength, while soldiers patrol borders with heightened vigilance. The drums of war beat louder with each passing day, echoing through the corridors of power and the streets of cities. Naval fleets are on high alert, ready to respond at a moment's notice. The question is no longer whether conflict will erupt, but when. Diplomatic efforts seem to be on a countdown, with each meeting more tense than the last. Military jets take off, signaling readiness for immediate action, and the world holds its breath, wondering if this is the spark that ignites World War III. The situation is dire, with missile tests and the looming threat of nuclear warfare casting a shadow over global peace. The possibility of miscalculation is high. In military control rooms, radar screens are closely monitored, and soldiers scan the horizon for any signs of escalation. Generals wear the weight of the world on their faces, knowing that one wrong move could lead to disaster. The consequences of conflict would be catastrophic. Urban areas could be reduced to rubble, and the human toll would be unimaginable. Refugee camps would swell with those fleeing the horrors of war, and the scars of destruction would last for generations. The world watches with bated breath, hoping for a miracle, praying for peace. In homes across the globe, people tune into the news, their faces etched with worry. Candlelight vigils are held and diplomats make last-ditch efforts to find common ground. But is it too late? Ominous clouds gather over cityscapes, and deserted streets at dusk paint a picture of a world on edge. Close-ups of anxious eyes reveal the fear and uncertainty that grips us all. The precipice is here, and the next step could change everything. The animosity between Iran and Israel runs deep. It is a tangled web of historical grievances, ideological clashes, and geopolitical rivalry. The 1979 Iranian Revolution, which overthrew the US-backed Shah and installed an Islamic Republic, marked a turning point. Israel, seeing a hostile Islamic regime in Tehran, has viewed Iran with suspicion ever since. Proxy conflicts have raged for decades, from Lebanon to Gaza. Recent attacks on Israeli-linked ships attributed to Iran have only inflamed tensions. The stage is set for a wider conflagration. The United States has been a steadfast ally of Israel since its inception. This unwavering support has only deepened in recent years. The US views Iran as a rogue state, a sponsor of terrorism, and a threat to regional stability. The Trump administration's withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal and the imposition of crippling sanctions have further escalated tensions. The recent deployment of US aircraft carriers and bombers to the Persian Gulf sends a clear message. America is prepared to use military force to defend its interests and its allies. Iran's military capabilities pale in comparison to the overwhelming might of the United States and Israel. The US boasts the most advanced military technology in the world, with a defense budget that dwarfs that of any other nation. Israel, too, is known for its cutting-edge military innovations and highly trained forces. Together, they form a formidable alliance that far exceeds Iran's conventional military strength. Iran's conventional forces are outdated and outmatched. Much of its military hardware dates back to the era of the Shah, with tanks and aircraft that are considered relics by modern standards. While Iran has made efforts to upgrade its arsenal, it still lags far behind the technological advancements seen in the US and Israeli forces. This disparity in conventional military power is a significant challenge for Iran. However, Iran has invested heavily in asymmetric warfare capabilities, such as ballistic missiles, naval mines, and cyber warfare. These tools are designed to exploit the vulnerabilities of more powerful adversaries. Ballistic missiles can target distant bases and infrastructure, naval mines can disrupt shipping lanes, and cyber attacks can cripple critical systems. These investments reflect Iran's strategy to level the playing field through unconventional means. Iran's strategy is one of deterrence. By developing these asymmetric capabilities, Iran aims to create a credible threat that can deter potential aggressors. The goal is not necessarily to win a conventional war, but to make the cost of attacking Iran prohibitively high. This strategy involves careful planning and coordination among Iran's military leaders, who are constantly assessing the strengths and weaknesses of their adversaries. It aims to inflict enough pain on its adversaries to make any attack too costly. By leveraging its asymmetric capabilities, Iran can target critical infrastructure, disrupt supply chains, and create chaos in the event of a conflict. This approach is designed to wear down the enemy over time, making a quick and decisive victory difficult to achieve. The aftermath of such a conflict would be devastating for all parties involved. Iran's geography, with its mountainous terrain and vast coastline, also offers natural defenses. The rugged mountains provide a formidable barrier to any invading force, while the extensive coastline allows for the deployment of naval mines and other defensive measures. These geographic features have historically played a crucial role in Iran's defense strategy, making it difficult for adversaries to gain a foothold on Iranian soil. While a decisive victory for Iran is unlikely, it could inflict significant damage and drag its enemies into a protracted and bloody conflict. The combination of asymmetric warfare tactics and natural defenses means that any military engagement with Iran would be costly and prolonged. The damage to infrastructure and the human toll would be immense, creating a scenario where there are no clear winners. This potential for a drawn-out conflict serves as a powerful deterrent, making adversaries think twice before engaging in military action against Iran. Section 5. A swift and decisive victory? Not so fast. Many believe that the United States and Israel could easily overpower Iran in a matter of days. The perception of their overwhelming military superiority is widespread, given their advanced technology, well-trained forces, and extensive resources. While their combined military might is formidable, a swift and decisive victory is far from guaranteed. The complexities of modern warfare, especially in the Middle East, mean that even the most powerful militaries can face significant challenges. Iran has spent years preparing for this very scenario, developing a strategy of asymmetric warfare and fortifying its defenses. This preparation includes not only conventional military assets, but also unconventional tactics designed to exploit the weaknesses of a technologically superior adversary. Iran's ballistic missile arsenal, capable of striking Israel and US bases in the region, poses a credible threat. These missiles can reach deep into enemy territory, targeting critical infrastructure and military installations, thereby complicating any offensive operations. Its network of proxies, such as Hezbollah in Lebanon and Shia militias in Iraq, could open up multiple fronts, bogging down the United States and Israel in a quagmire. These groups are well-armed, highly motivated, and have extensive experience in guerrilla warfare, making them formidable opponents. A quick and clean victory is a dangerous illusion. The reality of war is often messy and protracted, with unforeseen consequences and significant human and material costs. The notion of a swift victory overlooks the resilience and adaptability of the Iranian forces and their allies. Moreover, the geopolitical ramifications of such a conflict would be far-reaching. Diplomatic efforts and international relations would be strained, potentially leading to broader regional instability. The involvement of other global powers could further complicate the situation, making a swift resolution even less likely. The humanitarian impact cannot be ignored either. War inevitably leads to civilian casualties, displacement, and a humanitarian crisis. The cost of rebuilding and providing aid to affected populations would be immense, adding another layer of complexity to the conflict. History has shown that wars often last longer and are more costly than initially anticipated. The lessons from past conflicts underscore the importance of careful planning, realistic expectations, and the pursuit of diplomatic solutions whenever possible. In conclusion, while the military capabilities of the United States and Israel are indeed impressive, the notion of a swift and decisive victory over Iran is overly simplistic. The complexities of modern warfare, the resilience of the Iranian forces, and the broader geopolitical and humanitarian implications all suggest that any conflict would be far from straightforward. It is crucial to approach such scenarios with a clear understanding of the potential challenges and consequences, striving for peace and stability rather than underestimating the adversary and the situation at hand. Section 6. The human cost of conflict. A grim reality. Lost in the geopolitical calculations is the human cost of war. Any conflict between Iran and its adversaries would result in a humanitarian catastrophe. Iran, with its large population and densely populated cities, would bear the brunt of the suffering. Millions would be displaced. Thousands, if not millions, could perish. The use of chemical weapons, a grim possibility, would magnify the horrors. The world cannot stand idly by while another humanitarian disaster unfolds. Section 7. A global powder keg, the stakes rise. The Middle East is a global powder keg. A regional conflict involving Iran, Israel, and the United States could easily escalate into a wider conflagration. Russia and China, both with strategic interests in the region and long-standing ties to Iran, would be drawn into the fray. The potential for miscalculation and escalation is high. The risk of a direct confrontation between nuclear-armed powers is a terrifying prospect. The world cannot afford to let this conflict spiral out of control. Section 8. The diplomatic tightrope, a narrow path to peace. The only way to avert disaster is through diplomacy. The international community must urge all parties to exercise restraint and engage in dialogue. Back-channel negotiations, confidence-building measures, and a return to the negotiating table are essential. The stakes are too high for anything less. The world must not allow pride, prejudice, or political expediency to stand in the way of peace. The time for dialogue is now. Section 9. The coming weeks, a defining moment. The coming weeks will be critical in determining the future of the Middle East. The world watches with bated breath, hoping for a diplomatic breakthrough, praying for a peaceful resolution. The decisions made in the days and weeks ahead will have far-reaching consequences. The world must not allow this opportunity for peace to slip away. The alternative is too horrific to contemplate. Section 10. The shadow of World War III. A looming threat, the specter of World War III hangs heavy over the current crisis. The possibility of a global conflict, once unthinkable, now seems terrifyingly real. The world has been down this road before, with devastating consequences. We must not allow history to repeat itself. The lessons of the past must guide us towards a more peaceful future. Section 11. A plea for peace, the only viable path. In this time of peril, let us remember our shared humanity. Let us choose dialogue over destruction, diplomacy over devastation. Let us work together to build a more peaceful and just world for all. The path to peace may be narrow and fraught with obstacles, but it is the only path worth taking. The future of our world depends on it.